So this was a video I didn't want to make. A DJI drone ban in the US is becoming more real every day. If you haven't noticed, DJI lost its lawsuit against the US Department of Defense, or Department of War at this point. So there's going to be a lot of fallout around that. So a little refresher about the DJI drone ban. The potential DJI drone ban in the United States is primarily driven by national security concerns. Under the 2025 National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, a formal security review of DJI must be completed by December 23rd, 2025. If this review does not occur, DJI drones will automatically be added to the FCC covered list, effectively banning new DJI drones from being imported or sold in the US. There apparently is no rush to complete this review. So what does this mean at this point? As a content creator, I don't know that I have any alternatives. There are no American-made drones that are ready for the consumer or prosumer market. And what do content creators do? That's the question. I needed something to do. I was kind of cooped up in the house, wanted to get out and about. So getting a drone was one of those things that really appealed to me for a couple different reasons. As a kid growing up, I always liked model airplanes and gliders and even the old balsa wood airplane glider kits. So having a drone was so cool, and DJI frankly made it very easy. My first drone was the DJI Mini 3 Pro. That was a great drone. Still is a great drone. I still have it. 4K video, good picture quality, easy to fly, return to home, compact and good performance at a decent price. After a few months of flying it, I thought I could do something with this drone. Years of flying my Mini 3 Pro, I did my first upgrade, DJI Air3s. Getting that DJI Air3s was the first indication of things to come. So after a lot of international drama and whatnot, this finally showed up. Just released, I ordered it last week, the DJI Air3s drone. Now, there's been a lot of scrutiny about DJI and their drone products in the US. Is this going to be my last DJI drone that I'm legally allowed to use? Customs has been holding them up because of the Uyghur Forced Labor Protection Act. They were citing that as a reason for not allowing these into the country. DJI evidently provided information to customs and they were able to move it forward. There is the CCP bill that has been in Congress. They're trying to ban DJI drones. I wish we had alternatives for consumer drones. I understand the concerns with this. I have multiple DJI products and I can't wait to test this out. Register this thing and fly it. Stay tuned. It was really the first attack on the DJI supply chain coming into the US. It basically were harassing DJI in the consumer market. Eventually I received my Air3s and it was a great improvement for me as a content creator. I took this footage here in Turks and Caicos and could have never taken this with a mini drone. Wind is not a mini drone's friend. A 249 gram or below drone will have difficulties in conditions such as wind. So the step up to the Air3s was integral in me getting really great footage. And the 1-inch sensor, the separate zoom lens was really an improvement. And at the time, I thought it was a good investment. Now I'm not so sure, because basically DJI is pulling out of the US drone market or is being banned. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the concerns around DJI and their products, because I'm not a paid content producer when it comes to DJI products. You'll notice as soon as a new DJI product is introduced, there's a bunch of YouTubers out there defending DJI, bringing and reviewing their products. I'm not going to do that here. I have no vested interest in DJI other than liking their products, but there are a couple of things that are interesting, and I don't know what the US government has found with DJI products, and specifically their drones. In the past, I've had some reservations about certain things, and given the enormous amount of electronic and computing equipment that are produced in China, there are naturally concerns. For instance, when I had to make my claim on my lost DJI 3 Pro, Mini 3 Pro, as part of the DJI Care program, they wanted me to turn on my cloud uploads of flight telemetry for the warranty case. Now, listen, I can understand that, and normally I didn't upload that information, even though it was an option in the DJI Fly program, because I don't want that information in the cloud. But in a few instances, those rights would magically default to allow cloud uploads, even though I had turned that option off. Sometimes this would happen after a firmware update, which, if you are a drone enthusiast, you absolutely know that DJI is constantly updating the firmware and updating features. So there was always an opportunity for my flight data to get uploaded to the cloud. I know DJI maintains that security audits and whatnot have been performed around this data, their drones and their software, and they've never found anything to indicate that it's being uploaded and used elsewhere. I've also had situations where I've uploaded my flight data to airdata.com and was amazed at the level of data and metrics recorded as part of the flight telemetry. That data, of course, produces a flight map, which is absolutely what I would expect. However, there were also some embedded thumbnails, which was interesting. And listen, if you know why this is, please let me know in the comments section, because I am curious. Even though there were very low resolution pictures, I was curious on why they wound up in the air data. As I started to dive into this a little bit, I became more concerned and stopped uploading those flight records. One area of concern is some of the DJI products that you use basically from your mobile device. Although my Mini 3 Pro actually has a standalone controller, basically just an Android device with the DJI Fly. But the DJI Fly app software that you can use when it's on your mobile phone, of course, needs elevated rights, needs rights to do different things, including access to your local network, access to your location, which makes 100% sense considering you're flying a drone, access to all photos on your device. And photos and things, so starting to think about that a little bit, because iOS has evolved and gives you rights and granularity to what it allows apps to access. You've noticed this more and more. But just in case you don't know, anytime you give full access to any mobile app on your iPhone, and I guess the same thing on Android, that app has the ability to access all your photos. Now, most of the time that would be expected. I use the Blackmagic camera app on the iPhone, and that stores images and videos in its own database and not in the camera roll. Of course, this is configurable. You can change that. But any application that has access to all your photos, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, or any other application, and the same thing for location services, has the ability to upload that data, including those photos, to the cloud, examine the metadata in those photos, for instance, location, and basically have that information. There is a lot of data on a smartphone. And when you really dive into it, some of the data and access that is granted to applications when you install them is a bit frightening. But that's a whole other subject. So back to DJI. So I don't know, again, what the US government has found regarding DJI. I know from DJI's perspective, they're innocent. So I understand the security implications of drones here in the US, and especially Chinese-made drones. For a little background, I have worked in IT most of my career. This has been a challenge for a long time with IT equipment, malware embedded into high-end routers and switches, components of these devices that are manufactured in China. Telemetry being sent to places you are not sure should have that information. Supply chain attacks, where malware is embedded into software and other products. Look up SolarWinds about that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And basically, backdoors being put into communication and other computing equipment. So this is a huge issue. I also have other DJI products. As a content creator, this thing here, the DJI Mic 2, the DJI Mic 2. I have a DJI Power 1000, another cool product, which can be used to recharge drones or power my full-size refrigerator for 24 hours when we had a power failure. This is good, innovative products. DJI has led the way in many of these cases, or glommed onto something that's successful and come up with their own product. These devices generally have no way to the internet, so they are relatively harmless. This DJI mics, they don't go to the internet, although they do require firmware updates occasionally, and that requires that you download an app on your computer, so you could look at it that way. My DJI Osmo Action 4, this thing here. This is, this can be used underwater. This is a great product. But again, use the companion mobile app, the DJI Mimo app, to upgrade firmware, which in a lot of cases is required, and video from your camera to your smartphone. And again, with the app, there are rights that are necessary for this app to function. So anywhere you look, there are conduits or pathways for your data and photos to go somewhere in the cloud, same as DJI drones. So what am I going to do to continue to use my drone? Well, be very careful, number one. Flying my DJI drones right now is risky, because if your drone crashes, that's it. Drone done. No replacement mechanism, no repairabilities. There is no real U.S. manufacturer, consumer, or prosumer level drones at this point in time. At one time, there was a company called Skydio, but they pulled out of the consumer market. Skydio now is working directly with the military, because that's where all the heat is in the drone market. Modern warfare is trending to drone warfare. Drone development for military applications has always been a thing, and now more apparent than ever. With some of the conflicts going on, DJI has been at the forefront of drone devices. I'm not going to get into a lot of the politics around the DJI drone ban, because there certainly are some questions about the interests in play here. A lot of money in consumer and multi-use case drones. There are a number of YouTubers that frankly defend DJI and are paid to do so. They may have some valid arguments, but they also receive products prior to launch and have content at release day on DJI products. So take their vigorous defense of DJI with a grain of salt. I'm going to keep using my DJI drone or drones till I can't, and hope for the best outcome. However, one of the things a lot of people don't mention is that technically the FCC could revoke the authorization for DJI drones to function in the U.S. communication infrastructure. 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequencies are used to communicate from your controller to your drone. So they could conceivably ban DJI drones, including existing ones, by taking away the authorization to use those frequencies. So when you hear someone say, oh, well, this only affects new drones, we already know that you can't get the new Mavic 4 Pro, new Mavic 4, or the DJI Mini 5 Pro. Right now the DJI or the DJI store really only has a few products in it. For the most part, they don't have a future in the US. Found this content useful? Subscribe to my channel and like this video. So tell me what you think about the DJI drone ban. Leave your thoughts in the comments. There's a lot of thoughts around this company, DJI drones, and all their products.